Today is one of those dark, gloomy winter days here in Austria. It's like -2 Celsius, so I thought this would be the perfect time to brew some tea and chat about some books. Excuse my voice, I also have a bit of a cold. So I love planning, I love putting together lists, more than actually ticking things off of those lists. So of course I want to start the year with putting together a good old prioritization of my physical TBR. To be honest, I don't think it's that bad. I have around 20-30 books in physical form that are sitting on my shelves unread. To be fair, a small percentage of them are books that my fiance has read and I still need to get to them, so it's truly not that bad. But I also realized in the last couple of months I've been neglecting some of the books I already own, and a lot of the times I reach for something new that was hyped on book social media at that moment. So this video is me trying to be less chaotic and pick a TBR out of the books that I already own. I challenged myself to pick up the book that has been sitting on my shelf unread for the longest time out of all the books I currently own, and that was The Song of Achilles. I believe I bought it around the end of 2021 when I was back into reading and consuming unholy amounts of book talk and booktube content. So obviously I was influenced to buy it. But I also saw the emotional toll it took on people, so I was hesitant to actually start reading it. But I'm happy to report that after mentally preparing myself for it, after like 3 years or so, I finally picked it up. And finished it actually like 2 days ago. Did I finish it or did the book finish me? A little bit of both, to be honest. Was I emotionally wrecked? Absolutely, and you will be hearing about it in the upcoming reading wrap-up. The Song of Achilles is a tender and gripping Greek mythology retelling focusing on Achilles and Patroclus' coming-of-age story and the roles in the Trojan War narrated by Patroclus. When I tell you, I was in pain reading it. The characters and the events adhere to what's known historically or mythologically, but Patroclus' perspective provides such an emotional depth and adds so many layers to the characters' identities. It is absolutely beautiful. There's also a reason why so many quotes got popular on BookTok and Bookstagram. Achilles and Patroclus' love and devotion towards each other is described so poetically. I might have shed a tear or two on those lines. If you are like me and you bought this book when it got the hype, believe me when I tell you, it is still worth reading it, and it holds up even after 13 years or so after the publication date. Just prepare yourself mentally first. I bought another Alex E. Harrow book, which you will see in the next book haul. It is currently January, so I'm truly running out of excuses to delay reading the 10,000 Doors of January. Besides the gorgeous cover, it features an old mansion. It is said to be an ode to stories and storytelling and imagination. There is a diary there that the main character January discovers, and it is somehow connected to time traveling, and a bit of mystery regarding these doors that appear. So all pointing in the direction of this book being amazing. If only, I chose to pick it up instead of being tempted by all of these shiny popular BookTok books. From Alex E. Harrow, so far I've only read The Sixth Death of the Saint over the summer, a short story that, frankly speaking, blew me away when it came to the storytelling, because it was a looping narrative with the reader being addressed as you, and it was so powerful, so it made me curious how Alex E. Harrow spins the tale in this book. Wish me luck, because I started reading it finally this morning. I'm at page 73, and so far the pacing is a bit too slow for my taste, so let's see how it will go. Continuing the theme of picking books from authors that I already read, so I should definitely get to their other works as well. I have The Gilded Wolves from Roshani Chokshi. It is a bit embarrassing that I named The Last Tale of the Flower Bride one of my favorite books of 2023. You can check out my previous video about it. And I had this book sitting on not even the main bookshelf in the living room, but on my smaller bookshelf in the office room. But I'm here to make up for that misstep and put this on my priority TBR for 2024. It is a bold choice because it is part of a series, although I was careful, so it is the only book on this list which is not a standalone. We all know that I'm terrible at continuing series even when I like them, so let's see how this goes. The Gilded Wolves caught my interest mainly because of the setting, the character-focused narrative, and the author's immersive way of writing. It takes place in 19th century Paris. There is magic involved, a treasure hunt for ancient artifacts, and we have an unlikely group of misfits that are trying their best at the mission that they are given. Based on the blurb, we have an engineer with a debt to pay, a historian banished from home, a dancer with a sinister past, and a brother in arms, if not blood. And that sounds so interesting. To be honest, it's been a while since I read a fantasy story that had multiple main characters, not just one or two, so I'm looking forward to the change and being immersed in the dark, decadent, and glittering heart of Paris by Roshane Chokchi's exceptional way of writing. I've read my fair share of classics during high school, which was now around 10 years ago, but ever since I haven't really made an effort to pick up anything that was written before like the 1990s. But with the last two books on this list, I'm trying to change that this year. I originally bought The Picture of Dorian Gray for my fiancé, and after he finished it, we had some conversations around it, and it also landed on my TBR. My interest is mainly due to the central themes of vanity, morality, and the questions around living a life entirely devoted to hedonism. I'm curious if it's as thought-provoking as it seems to be. In the story, we follow the young and handsome Dorian Gray, who, after having his portrait painted, wishes that he could stay forever young, while the painting ages instead of him. As Dorian indulges in a hedonistic lifestyle, the portrait becomes a haunting reflection of his sins and moral decay. So it's definitely a book that requires more of my brain cells than the books I usually reach for escapism, but I will try to enrich my reading with some thought-provoking pieces in 2024, such as The Picture of Dorian Gray. Talking about thought-provoking pieces, for the last book on this priority list, I have No Longer Human by Osamu Dazai. Technically, it is on my physical TBR, but technically it is my fiancé's copy that he read before, so I don't feel as bad that it's been sitting on the shelves for a while now. It is a popular piece of Japanese literary fiction, originally published in the 1940s, delving into alienation and existential despair through an introspective narrative. In the book, we follow Yozo Oba's diary entries and his struggles with mental health, societal expectations, and his pursuit of self-identity. The book has been praised for capturing the emotional complexity with brutal honesty, making it a compelling and deeply human tale that resonates with readers on a profound level. It is a book which would also need some mental preparations on my side, but I have faith that I can read, emotionally challenging books without them plummeting me into an existential crisis, especially in the winter months. So these are the current top 5 books on my physical TBR, but there are some honorable mentions that I will be probably mixing in between depending on my mood. Yellowface is our local book club pick for January, so I should get to it soon. Ruthless Vows is the sequel to Divine Rivals that was published a couple of weeks ago, but I'm still waiting for my physical copy of it. Hellbent and A Fire Endless are both high on my TBR because I'm planning a video where I read sequels of my high-rated reads of last year. And last but not least, I also got Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher recommended to cure a reading slump if it happens, but you will be hearing more about it in an upcoming book haul video. Now I'm curious, what books do you plan to prioritize from your physical TBR? Write to me in the comments below and let's talk about them. That's all I want to do on this channel, just talk about books with everyone. So see you in my next video where we talk about even more books. Until then, take care, bye!